At the airport, ground control keeps trying to contact Flight 7500 to no avail. People on that plane are currently screaming as they go through some turbulence and their bodies are lifted from their seats. Some of them hit the roof while others are hit by the falling luggage. As the plane loses control, a dead body covered by a blanket can be seen on a seat. This all started 4 hours ago. Flight attendant Susie joins her coworker Laura to get Flight 7500 ready for the next trip, which goes from Los Angeles to Tokyo. While they chat, Susie shows Laura the pictures she took with her fiancé. Laura notices that Susie isn't smiling in all the photos, but Susie claims she was just tired. Soon the passengers are coming aboard. Liz rants to her husband Rick about another passenger's eating habits and makes a list of all the things she doesn't want to sit next to. Meanwhile, businessman Lance puts a mysterious box underneath the seat in front of him. When Laura tries to call the captain, she's suddenly startled by a hand on her shoulder. However, it's just Captain Pete pranking her. After they kiss, Laura informs him that ground control said a very important check was overlooked. Laura is excited about spending 3 days in Tokyo with him, but their conversation is interrupted when Pete's phone rings. It's a call from his wife, but he says it's from the company. In first class, Brad and Pia are pretending to be a happy couple, but they've actually been broken up for a while. The trip was organized before the breakup and is non-refundable, so now they're acting to avoid ruining things for their friends. In the meantime, Liz is happy about not having anyone sitting next to her, but that seat is soon taken by Jacinta. Liz asks her to move to another seat, but Jacinta refuses. Nearby, Raquel ends a call with her boyfriend after she admits she may be pregnant. Jake tries to hit on her, but he's interrupted by Susie, who reminds him to turn his tablet off. He ignores her, so Raquel takes the tablet and turns it off herself. While the flight attendants remind the passengers what to do in case of an emergency, Lance keeps talking on the phone and gets too loud as he mentions gouging eyeballs. Everyone stares at him in shock, so he hangs up. When Laura checks on him, she notices the box under the seat and tells Lance to put it in the overhead compartment. Then the plane finally takes off. Jake reveals to Raquel that he kept his phone turned on in his bag, thinking he's some kind of rebel. Raquel isn't impressed, but she does notice his stash of stolen phones, causing Jake to defend himself by saying the world is going through a financial crisis and he has to survive. While getting the snacks ready, Susie asks Laura if she really believes that Pete will leave his wife for her, and Laura explains she plans to use their Tokyo vacation to convince him. Moments later, the plane suddenly starts shaking as it goes through some turbulence. Snacks and drinks slide off the tables and the passengers are told to put on their seatbelts. However, Jacinta thinks this is exciting and unbuckles her belt. The plane continues to shake for several minutes, and just like that, it stops and starts flying normally again. Pete apologizes, explaining that they hit some unstable air, but it's over now. While everyone tries to relax, Lance starts having trouble breathing. Susie keeps an eye on him while Laura gets the first aid kit. She also asks the passengers if there's a doctor aboard. Blood is spilling from Lance's mouth and it gets so bad that he has to spit it on the other seat. Rick offers his help and Brad also joins them, revealing he's a paramedic. While Rick takes Lance's blood pressure, Brad tries to ask him some questions about his health. However, Lance only says that he doesn't want to die in a plane. Suddenly Lance screams and his body starts to shake like crazy, but it doesn't look like a convulsion. The group holds him down until Lance freezes and collapses. Brad notices he isn't breathing, so they take Lance to the galley to do CPR and use a defibrillator. Unfortunately, their efforts are in vain and Lance dies. While the news spread among the shocked passengers, the flight attendants inform the pilots. Pete calls ground control and says he'll continue with the original flight plan, so he's told that a medical team will be waiting for them in Tokyo. Afterward, Laura announces that the people in first class must relocate to economy because this area will be used for the body. They'll still have first-class amenities and will be compensated with vouchers. Meanwhile, Liz scolds Rick for giving CPR to a man with blood on his lips during their honeymoon, since the illness could be contagious. An annoyed Rick kisses her to shut her up. Jacinta keeps glancing back because she wants to see the body and thinks that it may even be moving. Two men move Lance to first class, and as they walk down the corridor, Jacinta uses the chance to touch the body. Now there's some blood on her hand and she thinks it's cool that he already felt cold. Jake also watches the body and notices an expensive watch on its wrist. On its way to first class, the body is accidentally rubbed against a window and blood is left on the glass. Lance is left on a seat with a blanket covering him, and Laura buckles him in. It's quite disgusting, so Susie doesn't dare to help her. Liz finds Brad in the galley and asks him lots of questions about Lance, but Brad just says he doesn't know and walks away. Rick and Jacinta discuss death and how it's a natural part of life. Jacinta thinks Rick needs to learn how to enjoy life, causing him to doubt his marriage. When Liz comes back, she finds them laughing together. She kills the mood by saying everyone will start dying soon. Raquel goes to the bathroom and decides to finally do a pregnancy test. Laura is serving coffee, and when she passes by Lance's original seat, she's shocked to find a tooth. Her mind starts reliving the moment of the death and Laura falls to the floor, spilling the coffee. The resulting steam causes Lance's handprint to appear on the armrest. At the same time, Brad notices that his fingertips are blue. Suddenly all the water bottles start to compress and some objects are shaking. Laura rushes to the nearest seat and buckles up while telling everyone to do the same. Susie also takes a random seat, but not everyone gets their belts on time. At that moment the plane starts shaking and many people hit their heads on the ceiling, including Raquel in the bathroom. Some passengers float up and are stuck against the ceiling for several seconds until the plane changes direction. People fall and so does the baggage, hitting many passengers in the process. Then strange smoke begins filling the cabin as everyone screams and panics. The candy cart falls down the stairs and breaks a window as it crashes. The plane's computer detects an issue with the cabin pressure and deploys the oxygen masks. Pete puts his on pretty quickly, but his co-pilot Tom appears to be in a daze, so Pete has to snap him out of it. In the bathroom, Raquel struggles to open the door while the smoke keeps seeping in. After lots of effort she finally manages to open the bathroom, only for more smoke to come inside. She's about to call for help, but she passes out instead while a shadow lurks in the smoke. Meanwhile Pia's mask isn't working and she almost passes out, but Brad gives her his mask. He then moves to another seat to use that mask instead, but at that moment he notices a mother and her daughter passed out in the front. Brad runs ahead, using the masks he finds on other seats on his way to the unconscious passengers. He puts the masks on the little girl and her mother to save them just in time. When Brad turns around he discovers that Pia is unconscious too and tries to run to her, but as soon as he takes off his mask he collapses. Thankfully he falls near a cabinet with an emergency oxygen tank, so he uses it to go back to his wife. By sharing the oxygen tank with her, he quickly wakes her up. After a few more minutes, the plane finally stops shaking and the smoke disappears. Pete tells the passengers that they can take off their masks and explains that during the turbulence, a seal on the plane must have broken. By flying at a lower altitude, he's normalized the cabin pressure. Laura checks on the passengers and finds Raquel unconscious in the bathroom. She brings the emergency oxygen tank and manages to wake her up. Raquel has a breakdown and Laura does her best to comfort her. While the flight attendants clean up the mess, Pia watches the child with her mother. Brad says they could try having a baby, but Pia has already gone through 2 miscarriages and refuses to suffer again. Liz is looking at her wedding pictures on her computer and is startled by seeing Lance's creepy reflection on the screen reaching for her. However, when she turns around she doesn't see anything. In the meantime Jake sneaks into first class because he wants to steal Lance's watch. He approaches the body and touches the blanket, only to be startled when Lance's arm drops down. After noticing that there's water all over the walls and the hand, Jake takes the watch, which comes out with a bit of flesh attached to it. Then he pulls out the phone and records a video of the body, but since he's looking at the camera he doesn't see the head moving. When Jake removes the blanket, he's so terrified by what he sees that he screams. In the cockpit, Pete keeps trying to contact ground control in Tokyo but only hears static on the radio. Next to him, Tom has fallen asleep. Meanwhile Brad is watching a movie about a plane accident and the screen starts glitching. Lance appears with both a normal and a creepy face, so Brad is entranced. Pia snaps him out of it when she touches his shoulder and the screen looks normal now. In the galley, Laura is distracted by a green light at the window. She takes a closer look and notices that a fighter jet is flying right next to them. Susie distracts her when she points out that Jake hasn't been in his seat for a while. Laura asks Raquel and learns that Jake sneaked into first class. Both flight attendants go upstairs and are shocked to discover that Lance's body is gone. A horrified Laura immediately leaves, but when Susie is about to do the same, she hears an overhead compartment opening. She quickly closes it and leaves as well. Afterward Laura tells Pete about the missing body and he orders the flight attendants to find it. Before hanging up, Laura asks him if he saw the jet, but Pete saw nothing. In the bathroom, Raquel finally gets to use her pregnancy test. While waiting for the results, the room starts to fill with smoke. The lights flicker and Raquel panics as she tries to leave, but the door won't open. Suddenly 2 hands rise from the floor and pull her legs as she screams. Susie and Laura continue to search the plane and Brad overhears them talking. He tells Pia, Rick, and Liz that the body and a passenger are missing. He also mentions that he saw Lance on his screen. Liz admits she saw him too and the group agrees they should help with the search since whatever is going on seems to be caused by Lance. They go to Lance's original seat and retrieve his bag. In the galley, Susie tells Laura that Lance's death has made her realize she doesn't want to marry her fiancé because she's still thinking about her previous boyfriend, who is dead. When Pete comes by to ask about the body, Laura says she knows he won't leave his wife for her because of the kids. Pete admits he wishes it was different and they break up. Back to Brad's group, they find a private corner and start searching Lance's bag. They find hair samples inside bottles with the names of 3 girls. There's also a bottle with a product known for causing cancer. Liz thinks Lance killed the 3 girls with cancer, which the others find ridiculous. Pia tries to use Lance's laptop but it needs a password. At that moment they're joined by Jacinta, who brings them Lance's mysterious box before returning to her seat. She covers her body with a blanket and tries to fall asleep, however the blanket keeps falling as if someone was pulling it. She looks under it but sees nothing. Brad's group tries to open the box to no avail. Susie and Laura catch them red-handed and scold them for messing with another passenger's luggage before sending them back to their seats. After they leave, the flight attendants look at all the weird bottles and realize that maybe the group was onto something. They open the hatch to the cargo hold and Laura goes down with a flashlight, hoping to find the rest of Lance's luggage. While the attendants are distracted, Brad's group retrieves the mysterious box and finally manages to pick the lock. Inside there's a creepy doll that turns its head to look at them, although the noises it makes indicate it has gears inside. There's also paperwork in the box that says custom Shinigami figure, and Jacinta explains it means it's a death doll. A Shinigami is a death spirit who collects people's souls after they die, but only if they let go of whatever is holding them to this world. It seems Lance was supposed to deliver the doll to a client in Tokyo and the samples are just doll hair. Jacinta concludes Lance is holding on to this world and his soul can't move on. In the cargo hold, Laura keeps searching and almost gets crushed by two containers that suddenly slide around. Luckily she moves fast enough to avoid them. When she reaches the bag she hears a weird sound nearby and gets startled by sudden barking. It turns out there's a dog in a crate. Laura falls and crashes into a luggage pile, which crumbles on top of her. One of these bags is Lance's, so she opens it and is horrified to find a hand reaching out. She tries to move away but she's surrounded by containers and the hand soon comes for her. In the cockpit, Pete looks at his wedding ring and apologizes to his wife. At that moment he hears someone talking on the radio, but all the static makes it impossible to understand. As Pete tries to talk to them, someone enters the cockpit and grabs his shoulder. Near the hatch, Susie finally takes off her engagement ring. When she peeks into the cargo hold, she sees lots of smoke and a hand that makes her scream. A terrified Susie runs away and hides in first class, but the smoke is following her. When Brad's group puts the doll back in the box and returns to their seats, the smoke begins to retreat. Susie tries to leave but is startled again by the compartment opening, so she closes it. Then Brad's group comes upstairs and Susie walks towards them. At that moment another compartment opens and a creepy hand grabs Susie by the hair to make her disappear into the compartment. Suddenly the plane starts shaking and everyone except Jacinta rushes down the stairs. They go to check on the pilots only to find them both dead with the masks on. The plane appears to be falling and the control panel indicates the fuel tank is almost empty. Meanwhile Jacinta is terrified to see her own body appearing in the corner. She turns around but she still can hear her own voice talking about death being a natural part of life. Jacinta decides to accept her fate by hugging her other self. While the group searches the plane, Brad trips on something. He's devastated to see the feet of Raquel's dead body at the bathroom door and he has a breakdown. Realizing that there's nothing they can do, Brad takes Pia's hand and takes her back to the cabin. To their shock, they find their dead bodies in their seats. When Rick and Liz join them, they also find their bodies. It turns out the entire crew and all the passengers have been dead for a while and the souls that remain are the ones who haven't let go. Laura and Susie let go when they broke up with their boyfriends, and Raquel did it when she finally looked at the results of the pregnancy test. Suddenly the screens are turned on to show the news. A man explains to the reporters that Flight 7500 lost its seal and the depressurization of the plane broke all the oxygen masks, so everyone died. The plane has kept on flying because Pete has put it on autopilot and the jet that Laura saw was sent to check if there was any life left on the plane, but they didn't find any. The plane is expected to crash into the ocean when it runs out of fuel. Hearing the whole explanation allows the 4 remaining souls to remember the moment of their deaths. Accepting their fate, Brad and Pia say goodbye to each other right before the plane finally crashes. When Liz opens her eyes, she realizes she's the only soul left on the plane because she hasn't let go. Suddenly she hears a noise in the waste bin and when she opens it, she finds a pale hand reaching for her. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.